Hi, I'm Mark Green, and with me today is Michelle Yandle, nutrition and health coach. Michelle is not only the author of A Diet for 7 Generations, but she's also the health food ambassador for bin in stores nationwide around New Zealand. And I'm here having a cup of tea with her down in Taranaki. I guess not everyone knows your health background, but you didn't used to be as healthy as you are now. So I wondering if you could sort of give us a little bit of an insight into your health journey and how you've got to where you are now.
Yeah, alright. Well, I won't go too far back, but I mean, it all would have started when I was really little. Did the whole yo-yo dieting thing. I think by the time I was 13, I'd been on about 13 different diets, and grew up in a family of dieters. So, you know, I was definitely unhealthy. I didn't have a lot of energy. I was, you know, the bullied kid, and I was overweight and all these sort of things. So that sort of started in me, that wanting to be healthy. And so when I was about 12, I actually became a vegetarian. And I was a vegetarian for 27 years, roughly.
Wow.
And at the time it was great for me because it got me cooking more, and it got me eating more whole foods because I wasn't going to McDonald's as much or Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then it was later on, after about 27 years, and I was a health coach, and I was, you know, Miss Health Guru. I knew lots of things about health, but I wasn't feeling well, and I sort of felt like a scam because I was like not actually feeling very good myself, and my energy was getting lower and lower. And eventually I came to a point where I realized that I think I needed to try having some meat, that I wasn't getting enough protein in my diet. And it was a lot of soul searching about that. It wasn't an easy choice, but sort of what I talk about in the book is that I just looked at, you know, what did my ancestors eat? And my ancestors were Indigenous Canadian, and, you know, they obviously ate meat, but they also respected it. And I was like, okay, well, how can you eat it and respect it? And I looked back at what they thought and what their sacred rights were around meat. And long story short, I started eating it again, and I feel like a whole different person. I mean, I've written 2 books since starting to eat meat again.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but it worked for me, and that's been the biggest message that I've learned for myself, is just to listen to my body. And it's not always an easy choice, but, you know, you have to honor your body and listen to it and what it's saying. So yeah, so a lot's happened since then, and I'm feeling a lot better for it, for sure.
Cool. What does health mean to you?
For me, it's about feeling great, and that's good, but the mental stuff needs to be there as well. And so somebody, for example, who is, you know, health focused, and that's great, but when it starts to go too far, where they're stressing about their food, and they're stressing about it, you know, not being paleo or not being gluten, you know, well, gluten-free, if you get obviously if you get some sort of a tolerance, it's a different story, but, you know, it may have been sprayed so they don't eat it, or they won't go out to dinner with their family because there might be some sugar there, or that's not healthy to me. So for me, it's about the whole body. So it's about the mental health, the physical health. You know, it's about just getting into a rhythm of things. There may be days where you are tired when you get up in the morning. It doesn't mean that you're not healthy. It just means that maybe you didn't sleep well. So it's about trusting that cycle and just really, you know, striving to feel as good as possible most of the time. And again, mentally, physically, the whole shebang, really.
Yeah. And what you mentioned, empowered eating. What is empowered eating?
So empowered eating it's a whole variety of different things, but ultimately it's being able to listen to use your own hunger cues to guide your eating. It's mindful eating, it's slowing down, it's knowing which foods are right for your body, and being able to tune into that innate wisdom. So for example, you know, I'll use gluten as an example, but say somebody's not eating gluten because somebody's told them not to, as opposed to not eating it because it makes them feel yuck. So it's just about being able to listen to your body and finding out with my help sort of, you know, what foods are right, and doing a bit of experimentation. So being empowered is just being in charge again of your own body, and that mindful eating and that slowing down and everything as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's based on, I mean, the empowered eating term came from me, but it's based on a program. I mean, there's lots of different programs, but this one that I'm doing is the Am I Hungry program by Michelle May. So I'm a licensed facilitator for her, and so I'm running her programs, and that's what the empowered eating is based on. And it's just that mindful eating, getting back to what I think is missing from a lot of the paleo enthusiasts, is that, you know, listening to your body again and eating when you're hungry, learning to stop when you're full, and, you know, something that we've lost really. We just sort of, a lot of sitting in front of the TV and eating a whole bag of chips and
when
even
food
paleo
is,
chips.
it's so convenient, you know.
Yeah,
food is so handy for us now.
Yeah.
Instead of going out and having to hunt and gather our food, you know, we can just walk down to the shop and buy a bag of chips.
And it's about empowered eating. To me too is about respecting where your foods come from as well, and, you know, not part of that mindless eating is forgetting, you know, what was involved to get that food to you and that sort of thing as well. And I talk about that in my book, and just giving thanks and bringing that awareness and consciousness back into your eating as well. Yeah, so part of it's that.
Tell me about food, because obviously food's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
What are your favorite things to cook?
Well, it's been kind of neat because since reintroducing meat, it's like every day is like this sensory exploration still. Like I had scallops for the very first time the other day, like these sorts of things. And so the simplest things now are really exciting to me. You know, first time I had bacon, I mean, you don't need to do anything else to it really. So I've actually done less experimenting sort of recipe-wise and just a little bit more simplicity with my cooking, because with vegetarian food, you can't really do simplicity. Like beans and rice alone don't taste very nice, so you need the sauces and the spices and that sort of thing. And it tastes awesome, but it's a lot more work. With, you know, meat, it's been a lot of just, you know, a nice pesto and some chicken, some fresh veggies, and
Do you have a favorite recipe that you like to cook?
Yeah, I'd say the one we make the most is actually Pete Evans's butter chicken.
Okay.
His recipe, it's really, really good. We make that probably once every couple of weeks or so. But another thing we like to do is the, you know, nachos with kumara chips and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been a big favorite for us. But and smoothies, I'm a sucker for smoothies.
Yep.
Like, I do love smoothies. I have them every day, and it's, to me, it's like a nutritious milkshake. So can't go wrong with that.
And you've got a bunch of these recipes in your book?
Yeah, I've got quite a few, and they're all seasonal in there too, so they use the veggies and fruits that are available each season.
Yeah, I can see winter recipes. It's fantastic.
I do try to keep it seasonal, just money-wise it's cheaper
Absolutely.
And fresher and more nutrient-dense, as you know, and
often people are looking for, you know, the top tips.
Yeah.
What are your top 5 tips for health?
I think the first one that comes to mind is, you know, just that asking, am I hungry, before you eat something, when you get the urge to eat. It's such a simple question, and it can be so life-changing. If you think, you know what, actually I'm not hungry, so what's the problem? I probably need to go for a walk, I'm bored. You know, but just that, bringing that consciousness back into your eating is, I think, so powerful. And so the second tip is asking your body sort of, well, what do you want then? So if you are hungry, what do you need? What's your body actually need to feel good? The point of eating is supposed to be to feel better after you ate than before. And, you know, and if you're not hungry, then it's a matter of, you know, what do you need? What's your body need? Does it need affection? Does it need attention? Does it need, you know, something to do? Distraction. So, so asking, those are my top tips, is asking, am I hungry? And, you know, body, what do you need? And then another one, probably my top tip, would be to take some time for some kind of mindfulness, some kind of meditation. Even if it's only 5 minutes a day, I find that every time I do it, something amazing happens. Like, it's just such a really cool, some idea will come or something during those moments. And it's not about, like, you know, sitting cross-legged and chanting. It's just about sitting still and doing it consistently. So that's a big one for me. And of course, just, you know, eating the foods that make you feel good. And that's a big one, a big tip. And that could be potentially sometimes a piece of chocolate cake, because it's going to make you feel good mentally. But chocolate cake every day is not going to make you feel good. So fresh foods, veggies, that sort of thing, obviously, and real foods as often as possible.
if you could give one piece of advice in one sentence that you think will help the majority of people to improve their health, what would it be?
I think we'd go back to that question, am I hungry?
Yeah.
Asking yourself if you're hungry. That's going to cut out so much of that overeating and that binge eating and the disconnected eating, and which is often the problem for many people. And so, like I said, just ask yourself, am I hungry, when you get the urge to eat. That would be
Well, there we go. Am I hungry?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.